We have found over our time that typically there's one spouse in the family that takes care of the finances. The other spouse sometimes takes a back seat knowing that the other spouse has it under control. So why do they need to step up and start learning about all this and making decisions? We find that decisions are made jointly, but typically one of the spouses is the one who understands all the nuances of what's going on and why. And they're also the driver of making decisions and implementing the ideas that they have. And they're the ones communicating with the other professional advisors like the accountant, the lawyer, and your investment advisor, et cetera. And that can cause a lot of problems for the spouse that has taken a backseat if you were to pass away. You can imagine that if you were to have a very simple situation, that's hard enough to deal with when you're handling all the emotion as well associated with someone's passing. Now you start adding holding companies, operating companies, family trusts, outdated estate documents, and you add all the emotion into that as well. How difficult is that going to be for your spouse to handle when you're gone? Right. And so that can be an absolute nightmare. And we have seen it where it can be a nightmare. I'm going to give you just three quick things that I think you can do as a family to better organize your situation. So number one is going to be making sure you have all your finances documented. So I'd say annually, you sit down with your spouse, go through all of your asset and liability listings, understand what you have, what you own, what you owe, and all the different people that you would have to contact regarding those things. And make sure you understand where all the documentation is with respect to all those assets and liabilities. The second thing is, I think, making sure that you bring your spouse to all the important meetings. So if you're meeting with your accountant, your lawyer, your investment advisor, your planners, making sure that your spouse is part of those meetings so that they have the opportunity to build a good, solid relationship as well and ask good questions, right? I think that your spouse would very much appreciate that. And third and lastly, I think just open communication. Oftentimes we find where one spouse will say, oh, my spouse doesn't care about, learning about this stuff. But when it comes down to it, they do. They do care. And they're often very concerned about what would happen if you were to pass away as the main one who's in control of the finances because they don't know what's going on. And so to have a conversation with them and get them involved and start to share with them what you're doing and why you're doing it and share with them all the documents relating to it and document who they should call if something were to happen to you and how they're going to deal with it, that will go a long way. Right. And so I hope that you learned something from this podcast. I hope that this is helpful. We're not the right fit for everybody. I run a company called 360 Wealth. Our wheelhouse is working with business families that are within 5 to 10 years of selling their business or they have recently sold. So if that sounds like you and you're interested in learning more about us, check us out, 360wealth.ca. We'd be happy to talk with you. Take care. Thanks.